My beloved child, I know your heart has been heavy lately. I know there are nights where you smile in front of others, but quietly break down when nobody is around. And yet, even in those silent moments, I have never taken my eyes off you. Not once. I saw every tear you tried to hide, every prayer whispered through pain, every moment you almost gave up, but somehow found the strength to keep going. That strength came from me. Because even when your faith became weak, my love for you never weakened. My beloved child, you keep thinking you are behind in life. You compare your journey to others. You wonder why some people seem blessed faster, while you continue fighting silent battles. But listen carefully. I am not writing their story. I am writing yours. And your story requires a different path. A deeper transformation. A stronger foundation. Because the calling over your life is greater than you realize right now. That is why the enemy attacks your mind so much. That is why discouragement tries to follow you. That is why fear keeps whispering that nothing will ever change. Because darkness becomes afraid when a soul is close to awakening. And my beloved child, you are closer than you think. Closer to healing. Closer to peace. Closer to the breakthrough you have prayed for in secret. So do not quit now. Do not return to the things I already helped you escape from. Do not lower your worth just because loneliness became uncomfortable. You were not created to beg for love from people who cannot see your value. You were created to walk in purpose, to walk in truth, to walk with me. And yes, the waiting season has been painful. But pain is not proof that I abandoned you. Sometimes pain is proof that transformation is happening. Because before blessings arrive, I prepare the heart first. Before elevation comes, I build humility first. Before peace becomes permanent, I teach the soul how to survive storms. And my beloved child, you survived storms that should have broken you completely. Yet here you are, still breathing, still hoping, still searching for me. That alone is a miracle. So tonight, stop focusing on what is missing. Instead, remember what survived. Remember how many times you thought life was over, but somehow you kept going. That was me carrying you. And I will carry you again. Through this season. Through this pain. Through every battle still ahead. Because you are not fighting alone. Heaven is still protecting you. Even in ways you cannot see. So rest your heart now, my beloved child. The chapter you cried through will not last forever. Joy is coming. Peace is coming. Healing is coming. And one day soon, you will realize that every delay, every heartbreak, and every painful goodbye was leading you toward the life you were truly meant to live. So trust me a little longer. Your miracle is already moving toward you. My beloved child, there is something I need you to understand tonight. The reason you feel so emotionally exhausted lately is because your soul has been fighting battles your mouth never talks about. You've been carrying pressure quietly, trying to stay strong for everyone else, trying not to burden people with your pain, trying to convince yourself that you're okay when deep inside you feel overwhelmed. But my beloved child, you do not have to pretend with me. I already know your heart completely. I know the thoughts you hide, the fears you never say out loud, the questions you ask yourself at night. Will things ever get better? Will I ever feel peace again? Will my life ever change? And the answer is yes. But first, you must stop believing that your current situation is your final destination. This season is temporary. The confusion is temporary. The loneliness is temporary. Even this pain is temporary. Because I am already working behind the scenes, in ways you cannot see yet. My beloved child, some doors had to close. Some people had to leave. Some plans had to fail. Not because your life was falling apart, but because I was protecting you from paths that would have destroyed your peace later. You keep mourning what ended, while I keep trying to show you what is beginning. And what is beginning will be far greater than what you lost. But you must trust me enough to release the past completely. Because you cannot step into a new season while emotionally living in the old one. My beloved child, stop replaying painful memories every day. Stop reopening wounds that I am trying to heal. Stop allowing guilt and regret to speak louder than my grace. You are forgiven. You are loved. You are still chosen. Even after every mistake. Even after every wrong decision. Even after every moment where you doubted yourself. My love for you has never depended on your perfection. If my love depended on perfection, nobody would deserve it. I love you because you are mine. And nothing can change that. Not your failures. Not your past. Not your brokenness. My beloved child, I need you to stop seeing yourself through the eyes of pain. Pain will always distort your identity. It will make you feel forgotten when you are actually protected. It will make you feel weak when you are actually growing stronger. It will make you feel abandoned when heaven is standing closer to you than ever before. That is why you must keep your eyes on me instead of your fears. Because fear speaks loudly, but truth speaks eternally. And the truth is, your life still carries purpose. Your future still carries hope. Your story is not over. There are still people you will inspire. Still lives you will touch. Still blessings you will experience. Still prayers waiting to be answered. My beloved child, do not rush your healing process. Flowers do not bloom overnight. The sunrise does not arrive instantly. And transformation takes time. So be patient with yourself. You are learning, growing, healing. Even if progress feels slow, I see every small step forward. Every moment you choose peace over chaos. Every moment you keep going despite exhaustion. Every moment you pray, even while fighting doubt. And I am proud of you. More proud than you realize. Because despite everything trying to break you, you are still here. Still trying. Still believing. Still searching for light. That matters deeply to me. My beloved child, you are entering a season where your spirit will become stronger than your fear. A season where clarity will replace confusion. A season where you stop begging for temporary things. And finally discover lasting peace. Because real peace does not come from people. It does not come from money. It does not come from constant success. Real peace comes from knowing that no matter what happens in life, you are held safely in my hands. And once you truly understand that, anxiety begins losing its control over you. The opinions of others lose power. The fear of failure loses power. Because your identity becomes rooted in something eternal. My beloved child, I know you are tired. But do not quit in the middle of your transformation. The enemy wants you to stop now. Because he sees what is ahead of you. He sees the healed version of you. The peaceful version. The confident version. The spiritually awakened version. And he fears that version deeply. Because once you fully realize how loved and chosen you are, nothing will be able to control you through fear anymore. So keep walking forward. Even slowly. Even emotionally. Even imperfectly. Just keep moving with me. And one day, you will wake up and realize that the storm which once terrified you actually led you straight into the life you prayed for. So tonight, my beloved child, rest your heart, release your fear, and trust that I am already preparing something beautiful beyond this season. There are blessings forming around you right now that you cannot see yet. Conversations are happening behind closed doors. Opportunities are slowly aligning. Doors you thought were permanently locked are beginning to move quietly in your favor. Even your heart is changing in ways you do not fully recognize yet. The things that once controlled you are losing their grip. The pain that once consumed your thoughts every day is slowly becoming weaker. And the version of you that once felt hopeless and broken is beginning to rise again. Not because life suddenly became easy, but because your spirit is becoming stronger. There was a time when one disappointment could destroy your entire peace. One rejection could make you question your worth. One delay could make you feel forgotten. But now, after everything you survived, you are beginning to understand that temporary situations do not define your future. And that realization is changing you deeply. Because strength is not pretending nothing hurts. Strength is continuing forward. Even while healing. Strength is choosing faith. While uncertainty still exists. Strength is waking up every morning and refusing to surrender to darkness. And you have done that more times than you give yourself credit for. There were nights where your heart felt completely exhausted. Nights where anxiety whispered lies into your mind. Nights where you felt emotionally alone. But somehow, morning still came. And somehow, you kept going. That was not an accident. That was grace carrying you through moments you were too weak to carry yourself. One day you will look back at this painful season differently. Not with bitterness, but with understanding. Because this season taught you how to depend on God instead of temporary comfort. It taught you discernment. It taught you who truly cared for your soul. And who only cared about convenience. It taught you how valuable peace really is. And most importantly, it taught you that even in your lowest moments, you were never abandoned. That truth will change your entire future. Because once a person truly realizes that God stayed with them during their darkest nights, fear begins losing its power. You stop panicking over every delay. You stop collapsing over every setback. You stop needing constant validation from people. Because your confidence becomes rooted in something eternal instead of temporary. And that is where true freedom begins. Not freedom from problems, but freedom from the fear that problems will destroy you. There is a reason your spirit has felt different lately. A reason old habits no longer satisfy you. A reason certain environments suddenly feel heavy. A reason your heart has been craving deeper peace. Your soul is outgrowing old versions of yourself. You are stepping into emotional and spiritual maturity. And growth often feels uncomfortable at first. Because transformation requires letting go. Letting go of old pain. Old identities. Old attachments. Old ways of thinking. But every time you release what no longer belongs in your life, you make room for something better. That is why you must stop chasing people who repeatedly make you feel small. Stop begging for attention from those who only remember you when convenient. Stop lowering your value to fit inside spaces that were never meant for you. You were not created to spend your life proving your worth to people. Your worth was already established by God. And once you truly understand that, everything changes. The way you love changes. The way you speak changes. The way you handle pain changes. The way you see yourself changes. You stop settling for chaos disguised as love. You stop entertaining relationships that drain your spirit. You stop allowing fear to control your future. Because peace becomes more important than attention. Healing becomes more important than approval. And purpose becomes more important than temporary comfort. That is the transformation happening inside you now. Even if it feels slow. Even if some days still feel difficult. Growth is happening. Healing is happening. And heaven sees every quiet battle. You continue fighting. Nothing about your struggle has been invisible to God. Every tear mattered. Every prayer mattered. Every lonely night mattered. And soon, you will begin seeing why this season had to happen. Because the person you are becoming now could not have been created without these lessons. Without these storms. Without these moments of surrender. One day your story will inspire people who are currently where you once were. People who feel broken. People who feel exhausted. People who feel forgotten. And your survival will become proof that healing is possible. That hope is possible. That peace is possible. So keep going. Even when emotions try to convince you otherwise. Even when answers feel delayed. Even when progress feels invisible. Because some of the greatest transformations in life happen quietly first. Like roots growing deep beneath the ground. Before the tree becomes visible. Your roots are growing now. Your faith is growing now. Your strength is growing now. And when the right season arrives, everything that was happening in silence will finally bloom in the open. The peace. The healing. The confidence. The breakthrough. It is all closer than you think. So tonight, release the weight you were never meant to carry alone. Stop punishing yourself for being human. Stop believing your story ends in pain. There is still beauty ahead of you. Still joy ahead of you. Still purpose ahead of you. And the next chapter of your life will not look like the last one. Because the version of you that is emerging now has been shaped through fire, not destroyed by it. There is a difference. Fire can either consume a person or refine them. And even though this season hurt deeply, it refined you. It taught you patience. When everything inside you wanted immediate answers, it taught you endurance. When your soul felt tired, it taught you faith. When circumstances gave you every reason to doubt. And those lessons are becoming part of your strength now. You may not realize it yet. But your perspective is changing. You no longer look at life the same way. Things that once seemed important do not feel important anymore. You are beginning to understand that protecting your peace matters more than impressing people. That inner healing matters more than outside appearance. That real love should feel safe, not confusing. And those realizations are signs of growth, not weakness. Growth often begins quietly. It happens in private moments. Moments where nobody claps for you. Moments where you choose not to give up. Moments where you continue praying, despite feeling emotionally drained. Moments where you keep moving forward, without knowing how everything will work out. Those moments matter more than you think. Because character is built in hidden seasons. And hidden seasons always prepare people for visible blessings later. That is why you cannot judge your future based on your current struggle. Storms do not last forever. Winter does not stay forever. And this painful chapter of your life will not last forever either. There is a future version of you that will smile again naturally. A future version of you that will sleep peacefully again. A future version of you that will no longer feel trapped by fear and sadness. That version is real. And every difficult day you survive now is slowly leading you closer to it. Sometimes you think healing means never feeling pain again. But healing is actually reaching a place where pain no longer controls your identity. Where memories no longer destroy your peace. Where your heart can finally breathe again. And you are moving toward that place. Step by step. Even on days where progress feels invisible. Do not underestimate small progress. Small steps still move you forward. A single prayer matters. A single hopeful thought matters. A single decision to keep going matters. Because healing is rarely dramatic at first. It often happens slowly. Quietly. Until one day you suddenly realize you are no longer the same person who once cried every night over the same pain. That day is coming. You are not meant to stay emotionally trapped forever. You are not meant to spend your entire life carrying shame and fear. Freedom belongs in your future too. Peace belongs in your future too. Love belongs in your future too. Not temporary love based on convenience, but real love. Healthy love. The kind of love that does not make you beg for basic respect. The kind of love that feels calm instead of chaotic. The kind of love that reflects God instead of confusion. And before that love arrives fully, God is teaching you how to love yourself correctly first. Because when you finally recognize your own worth, you stop accepting less than you deserve. You stop chasing people who only bring inconsistency. You stop confusing attention with genuine care. You stop sacrificing your mental peace just to avoid loneliness. That is maturity. And maturity changes everything. There are also dreams inside your heart that you secretly stopped believing in. Dreams life discouraged. Dreams pain interrupted. Dreams fear tried to bury. But some of those dreams were placed inside you by God. Which means they are not dead. Delayed does not mean destroyed. Sometimes dreams go through hidden preparation seasons too. Sometimes God works on the person before releasing the promise. Because blessings without preparation can become burdens instead of gifts. So instead of asking, "Why is this taking so long?" begin asking, "What is God teaching me during this season?" That question changes your perspective completely. Because suddenly the waiting has meaning. The struggle has meaning. The silence has meaning. And once you realize God is still working, even in silence, you stop panicking so much. You begin trusting deeper, resting deeper, believing deeper. That is where true faith grows. Not when everything is easy, but when you continue trusting, even while life feels uncertain. And your faith has survived battles that many people know nothing about. Battles in your mind. Battles in your emotions. Battles with loneliness, disappointment, fear, and exhaustion. Yet despite all of it, you are still here listening to this message. Still searching for hope. Still trying to believe again. That matters more than you realize. Because broken people who still seek God are never truly defeated. There is still light alive inside you. Still purpose alive inside you. Still destiny alive inside you. And no amount of darkness can erase what God already placed within your soul. So keep walking forward. Not perfectly. Not fearlessly. Just faithfully. Even if your steps feel small. Even if your heart still feels tired sometimes. Because one day soon, you will reach a chapter of life where everything begins making sense. The delays. The heartbreaks. The closed doors. The lonely nights. The unanswered questions. You will finally understand that God was never punishing you. He was preparing you. Preparing your spirit for deeper peace. Preparing your heart for healthier love. Preparing your mind for greater wisdom. Preparing your life for a future far more beautiful than the one you almost settled for. And when that future finally arrives, you will thank God for not giving you everything you once begged for. Because you will realize He was protecting your destiny all along. And when you finally understand that, a deep peace begins settling inside your soul. Not because every problem disappears overnight, but because you finally stop fighting against the process. You stop demanding immediate answers for everything. You stop trying to control every outcome. You stop believing that delays automatically mean rejection. Instead, you begin trusting that God can see what you cannot. That He understands the future better than you understand the present. And that trust changes the way you live. Because when trust grows stronger, fear grows weaker. Anxiety loses some of its control. The need to constantly prove yourself fades away. And your heart slowly learns how to rest again. That rest is important. Because for a long time, you have been emotionally surviving, not truly living. Always worrying. Always carrying invisible pressure. always expecting something bad to happen next. But God never intended for your mind to live in constant fear. He wants peace for you. Real peace. The kind of peace that allows you to breathe deeply again. The kind of peace that reminds you you do not have to carry the entire world on your shoulders. The kind of peace that says, even if life becomes difficult, God will still guide me through it. That kind of peace changes everything. Because once your spirit becomes anchored in God, the storms around you stop feeling so powerful. You still feel pain sometimes. You still have difficult days. But pain no longer defines your identity. Fear no longer controls every decision. And darkness no longer convinces you that your future is hopeless. You begin seeing yourself differently. Not as someone cursed. Not as someone forgotten. But as someone being shaped with purpose. Someone whose story still matters. Someone whose life still carries meaning. And it does. There are people you have not met yet, who will one day need your story. Need your wisdom. Need the strength you gained through survival. Because people connect deeply with those who walked through darkness and still chose faith. That is why your survival matters. Not only for you, but for others too. One day someone will hear your testimony and decide not to give up on life. Someone will see your healing and begin believing healing is possible for them too. Someone will watch your peace and realize God can restore broken hearts. Never underestimate how powerfully God can use pain. Once it becomes healed. The enemy wanted your pain to destroy you. But God is turning it into purpose. That is redemption. And redemption creates some of the strongest souls. Souls that become compassionate instead of bitter. Wise instead of arrogant. Gentle instead of hardened. Your softness after suffering is not weakness. It is evidence that God protected your heart. Even during difficult seasons. Because many people go through pain and become cold forever. But despite everything, you still want love. You still want peace. You still want goodness. That means light is still alive inside you. Protect that light. Do not allow the darkness of this world to convince you to become someone you are not. Stay kind. Stay honest. Stay faithful. Even when others choose differently. Because your character matters more than temporary success. And God honors hearts that continue choosing righteousness. Even while struggling privately. There will be moments ahead where you are tempted to return to old habits. Old mindsets. Old relationships. Old coping mechanisms. Not because they were healthy, but because they were familiar. Be careful during those moments. Not everything familiar is good for your future. Sometimes people return to pain simply because healing feels unfamiliar at first. But you are not meant to move backward anymore. This new season requires courage. Courage to release the past completely. Courage to forgive yourself. Courage to believe that a better future is actually possible. And yes, believing again can feel scary. After disappointment. But hopelessness was never your identity. Fear was never your destiny. God did not keep you alive through every storm. Just for you to settle into despair now. There is still too much purpose attached to your life. Too much potential. Too many beautiful moments ahead of you. One day you will laugh again. Without forcing it. You will smile again. Without hiding pain underneath. You will wake up with peace instead of dread. You will experience love that does not confuse your spirit. You will feel emotionally safe again. That future exists. And every step you take toward healing now is leading you closer to it. So stop speaking as if your story is over. It is not over. This chapter is difficult, yes. But difficult chapters are not final chapters. Sometimes they are the chapters that create the strongest transformations. And transformation is happening inside you right now. Even through the waiting. Even through the tears. Even through the uncertainty. Especially through those things. One day you will look back and realize that God was rebuilding your life from the inside out. Not just changing your circumstances. Changing your heart. Changing your mind. Changing your understanding of yourself. Because healed people see the world differently. They stop chasing empty things. They stop needing constant validation. They stop abandoning themselves to keep everyone else comfortable. They begin living with intention. With wisdom. With peace. And that is the direction your life is moving now. Not toward perfection. But toward wholeness. Toward spiritual maturity. Toward emotional freedom. Toward a life where your soul finally feels at home again. So tonight, release the timeline you created in your mind. Release the pressure to have everything figured out immediately. Release the fear that you are somehow too late. God is not rushing your story. And you do not need to rush it either. What is meant for you will arrive at the right time. What God has prepared for your life cannot be stolen by delay. Trust that. Believe that. And continue walking forward with faith. Because the same God who carried you through every painful season before this one will also carry you into the beautiful season ahead.